Hello everyone. This is Jana from the Endless Blue podcast. We explore the benefits of diving into the ocean and into yourself. Let's rethink how we deal with ourselves and our existence. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're great. So this is Jana. I'm the host from the show. I'm a freediving instructor and underwater photographer. And like always, I would ask you to take a moment to breathe. So take 3 deep and full breaths and make sure on the exhale to let go of everything what you don't need in this specific moment. Worries about work, friends, whatever is bothering you or keeping you busy, just let it go. Okay? So inhale, exhale. One more inhale. Let go everything you don't need. And the last one. In. And out. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It's always an honor having you. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about fear from sharks. And I was this week I was in Kalamata, at Kalamata Freedivers. That's a really amazing center for really deep diving. So people who are going to the world champs are like diving there, training there. And of course, they're also beginners and making their courses. And as I'm there and visiting, they come out of the water and I said, "Oh my God, we saw a shark." And I say, "Oh, really? Wow. And how big? Are you sure?" "I'm not sure. Maybe it was something else, but it really looked like a shark and the movement they showed me." So we don't know 100% it was a shark, but just talking about, they were like, "Oh my God, what are you going to do if it really approaches me?" And all those fears came up, and so I talked to them and tell me, "Okay, if you see a shark, so please don't turn around, look at it, show your energy." Because normally, so sharks don't see you really, but they feel your energy. So if you're going there with a lot of strength, inner strength, and you look at them, mostly they already turn away. And then there are different techniques with the hand and stuff where they even can be turned away, but that's much better you learn with that with a professional shark guide in the water. But it was quite interesting because it reminded me of myself and about that fear of sharks, which almost like inhibited me to live my dreams and to live my life fully. So imagine, I grew up in Greece. I was in the water as a child every day. I learned to dive so early. I don't even remember. Maybe I was 3 years old, and I was just like all the time underwater because my brother would just like throw like coins or toys in the pool and in the ocean. I would just get them and dive them up. And so I spent my childhood in the water. I had that big crush, like leaving Crete when I was 11 and went to Germany, which was really a hard time for me, and I didn't adapt very well. And I don't know exactly what happened. I saw kind of a lot of shark movies. I mean, Jaws came out in that time and some others too. And I think I just put that shark over the ocean because it was just so painful leaving the ocean. So it was just like, okay, I shut it down and I can never go back. And and I mean, yes, I went for holiday. Yes, I went for snorkeling and stuff in safe place. I eventually even saw a baby shark snorkeling in Seychelles. I didn't know that it was in a very clear reef with a guide. But everything which would like be a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, a little bit stormier, I would like at all never think about getting in the water. So it was like swimming very close to shore. And yeah, even when I went with a friend, she wanted to swim a little bit more inwards. I was like, "Oh, no, we can't, there are sharks." Another friend asked me, let's go for a surf trip in my 20s. I said, no, I can't, there are sharks. So it was like really, oh my God. And I will remember one moment when I finished school, I was like 18, 19, and I went on a road trip to the US. And I will never forget, I'm standing there on the Highway 1. I think it must have been between, close to San Francisco. And it's like morning light. The sun hasn't even rise. It's super foggy. And I see the surfers like going into the ocean. And I remember I was standing there and looking at them, and I was just frozen. I was watching them going in the ocean, and it was like such a feeling of duality. This like sadness in myself that I would never ever be capable to do something of that. That I even put a thought in that could have been me, because it was like literally like attached to dying for me. And so, but only me, of course, no, they could go, but I'm not capable, so I couldn't do that. And another time when we were like hanging around in one chaco and smoking weed and seeing all the surfers around and going to surf. And I remember I saw that girl with a surfboard, and I was just like so admiring her, but I would not even think about that could have been me. It was just, that fear was so big that it was just like uncrossable. And it was just almost 2 decades after leaving Crete. I was 11, and then I remember we were on our honeymoon, and which we never did. We did before all backpacking and stuff like that, and South America a lot. And so, wow, it was our honeymoon. So we got in a very nice hotel for the weekend, and it has a proper pool with salt water. So we didn't even go in the ocean. And after leaving the island, I was just like, telling me, oh my God, it was my honeymoon, and we didn't go to the ocean. How did that happen? And that was when my mom was sick at that time as well. So it was several things which made me think and said, oh my God, that can't be. I can't go on my honeymoon, can't go in the ocean. I grew up in the ocean. It just literally like was like, oh my God, how could that happen? So we booked another honeymoon and went to Gran Canaria and then to Brazil. And that's the first time I started surfing. And I remember I was like in Gran Canaria, and I mean, when you start surfing, you're standing very close to the shore. And eventually, after a week or something, there was that day which were super baby waves, and the water would have been crystal clear. And I paddle out to my first green wave. And I remember as I'm paddling, it's like that, again, the duality of looking down in the water, and it's like, oh my God, I'm going to survive. And it's so beautiful. I don't want to go back. And catching my first green wave, and I think that was just like, wow, how could I have missed out on that such a long time? And I don't know about you, but I think it's so sad to leave your things which you really love aside just because you're scared. And I think what's more sad, that you don't learn how to deal with fear, how to overcome fear, to learn that fear is not something bad, that fear is there, something which is there to protect you, but it's came out of balance because of all that overstimulus what we have. And so it's firing all the time, danger, danger, danger. That's what happened to me. And yeah, and like from there it was a long way still. After that trip we went to Brazil. My mom was really sick with cancer, so I thought, oh God, I'm not gonna go back to the ocean because I'm scared, and then one day you die from cancer. That was a big one in Brazil, but we were again with a perfect guide and everything. I was super scared, but I was like, as the guides were there, it was okay. I remember when I had to paddle through the channel, I would be alone. It was like, But as soon as somebody would be next to me, so I would be a bit safer. So that's also a really good tip for you if you're scared. always look, if you're going back to the ocean, look for support, look for an instructor, somebody who's qualified, who can be with you in that transformation. And then we moved to Portugal. And I'm a photographer originally. I studied photography in Munich and made a master in Portugal. So it was all about a master in photography. And I wanted to make a project about plastic. My professor said, no way, find something different, find something undiscovered still. And that's how I had to face my fears. I told her about my fears and she was like, oh my God, that's so interesting, go for it. And I was like, fuck man. No, I didn't say that, of course. But I was like, really, fuck, I don't want to do that. And I was so annoyed and so angry and everything. And but she made me read all these amazing things like, Moby Dick, 20,000 miles around under the ocean, under the sea. It's called 20,000 Miles Under the Sea. It's an amazing book by Jules Verne. The Odyssey from Homer, by the way, it's now in the cinema. It's amazing. I've seen it like a couple of days ago. It reminded me how I found the monsters in Odyssey, how I found the vortex, how I found at old maps, like, the ocean was connected to fear since ancient times, the Bible, the flood. If you're searching for fear in the ocean, you can find it everywhere. I mean, it was the unknown, the vast, the biggest. So there's this famous quote from Burke: the human would rather take a certain form than the unknown, So, and there was another very beautiful poem. Was it from Edgar Allan Poe? I don't know now, but it was like in a vortex and the boy was going down, and it was like, if you look fear in the eye, it's giving you strength. And that's also what I heard from a lot of big wave surfers, actually, where they have to face fear, right? That's a big one. That's also different, like from surfing small waves or freediving. I always say there's recreational freediving and there's extreme freediving, and the same like surfing and big wave surfing. But I interviewed like big wave surfers and read some great interviews, and they always said, if you look into the fear, like really confront it, it gives you strength if you manage to not panic. And I think that's a problem. We panic and then we die in the ocean. It's not because we are scared, it's because we panic. And how do we panic? We panic when we go over our limits, when we don't learn the basics, to go step by step, to let our body grow, to make a holistic approach being in the ocean. And it doesn't matter if it's about surfing, it's about freediving. I mean, the two sports I do and I love the most in the ocean. But any sport in general, and especially in the ocean, if you just do a wonderful, slow way to approach a new element where you feel unsafe, like imagine. I had that with surfing. Surfing was always like, for me, for example, I mean, I started like almost like now 10 years ago to surf, and I, for example, always try to like, go to surf and then go in bigger surf and just confront it, and then I would never really feel comfortable in the surf, actually, because I was just like always making two big jumps and then going back, and two big jumps going back, like, going out and really like mentally like calming my mind down. Okay, I'm getting to the still point, I'm paddling out, okay, I can do that. I'm just like, with my mind overriding the mind. I'm pretty good in that. I'm a freediving instructor. I have to be able to take control over my mind when it's necessary, okay? So I can do that in an emergency. And if that was not clear, imagine I had one day, it was pretty big in Caparica. I had surgery before, 2 months before, so I was not in my fittest state, but I had that mental capacity to just go out in the surf, and it was really big for me. And I was just like, breathe, Jana, breathe. And I could manage, I could go out, I even catch a small wave out there, and I got back. The thing is, I would always just mentally push myself through the next level. I did the same with freediving though. I pushed myself with visualizing my dives, getting deeper and deeper and deeper, which I did. But I wouldn't feel the kind of safety in my body. And then I changed my approach to a much more holistic way. Since I started meditating, since I had my wonderful coaching with Sarah Campbell, and I think which is the most important thing I think I've learned, which is very simple, is to go slow and to really create safety in your body. So for instance, I would go to surf in conditions which really felt comfortable for me, where I was not scared, where I was like catching lots of waves and feel comfortable. And I would repeat that. And the one thing is that I catch more waves, so it was more fun and I will be more confident. And then one day eventually there was that huge swell for me. And I knew a friend was out and I was alone. But suddenly, after these weeks and months of repetition in that small waves, I didn't feel scared anymore. Actually, I was also like physically, of course, more prepared. I had stronger arms. I'd been diving in that area a lot. And I went out and I remember paddling out and it was really, really big. So I was not scared of the size of the wave. I was more scared of the current, or like more like, how's the current? So I was very, very careful to see I'm not close, to any rocks. I'm gonna stay more in the middle. I'm going where it's like in a more safe area, so to say. And I didn't even get a wave on that day because it was so big. But I found my friend. I sit down with her, and she was like shivering, like so scared. And she told me like, "Oh my God, you're okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I was wondering myself what had happened as well. And I thought, wow, I've done that so many times, going out in a big day, but I've never felt comfortable on a big day. And so I pulled back, so I went back and I thought, okay, what was it? And it was that kind of slow, holistic approach, which I now use, of course, my freediving, and especially in teaching freediving, because we are so good in pushing through. That's what we learned in the Western world, right? You go and you push through no matter what. It's not about how you feel, it's to get to the other side. And especially in freediving, that can happen very easily, right? Because you have a number. So it's like, wow, I got there, I got with my mind there. But then after getting to that number, I was asked to teach and make safety 2 years later, and was like not feeling secure. And I was like, that's strange, why I don't feel this way? So I started diving deeper again, and I made that slow approach, and now I have a sense of safety in my body. And when I start a new season again, I give my body time to adapt and go slow. And it's one way, it's much more fun. Why we're doing that in the end? We're doing that to have fun and not to like pressure ourselves through. It's just our fucking ego which is there. And if you are afraid from the ocean, from the water, from sharks, whatever in the ocean which is out there, so first, make it real. Be honest with yourself. What you want to do out there, is it really dangerous? Is it really risky? Or is it just in your mind? Second, find support. Find a guide, an instructor who helps you through. And then third, go find safety in your body. Go in the ocean, have a nice experience, make your body feeling safe, and get out of it. Don't go deeper, okay? Go deeper when you really feel the pull from inside that you want to go deeper, that you want to surf bigger waves. That's going to make you grow. It's going to make you grow in the long term. I have a good friend. She's a big wave surfer now, and I had a great podcast with her. You can listen it. It's some prior, 3 episodes. She's called Lena Kemna. And we were talking about how to approach fear or growth. And she said, just repeat until it's getting boring. And when it's getting boring, then is the moment to take the next step. And yeah, I mean, imagine, I was so scared of sharks that I would get a panic attack when I see them in a fucking newspaper. And then I went to dive with sharks. I went to dive with blue sharks in the Azores, and there were quite lots of them. I don't remember, 5, 7, quite big ones. And I mean, I think it's not like my most favorite experience in the ocean. I prefer to dive with mantas and the whale shark. This is like, and dolphins. These are like my favorite animals out there. But for me, it was super necessary. I'm a freediving instructor. I mean, I want to be ready when a shark comes into the ocean. It's the open sea. Like last week or this week in Kalamata, there can be one. So Kalamata is just like on the corner from here. It's the ocean. We have no borders, so they can come. And I want to know as instructor how to deal with them. And I remember I was sitting there on the boat, getting to stillness. So stillness is that perfect moment when your mind is calm and still and present. You're not past futuring, you're just right here, right now, without your fears from the past or the future. So I remember I was sitting there and I was breathing. For this actually I used visualization a lot. I was visualizing a lot the sharks being there in the ocean and I would be safe. That really helped me. I talked about visualization last week, which I think is really helpful in particular moments. And I was there in the ocean with them all around me, with a shark diver. Hey, I'm not stupid. I didn't go with 5 to 7 sharks in the water alone without any experience to deal with them, with a prior really fear from sharks. And I remember it was just so amazing because you really have to connect to that inner power, which you have, like your 3rd chakra. And if that sounds pretty woohoo, also watch, it's an amazing movie out there. It's called The Shark Whisperer. It's on Netflix and it's with Ocean Ramsey. And she also explains how you have to get in that state of power, because sharks are predators. So you don't want to be prey. You want to be a predator too. And the stronger you get, the more they can turn around. And it was amazing. I was there. I first became a freediving instructor, which was such a huge thing, which I never thought I would be capable of. That was insane. I remember Chris first time told me she wanted to get a freediving instructor. I was like, what, a freediving instructor? No way. I'm never going to get a freediving instructor. That was for me like, I don't know, winning a World Cup or something. Really, it was so far away from me. You can't even imagine. So I learned in freediving to control my mind. So I could be there with them in the ocean. So it was step by step, you know. I started to surf. I learned to freedive. I became an instructor, an underwater photographer. And then I went to dive with sharks. So it was not from, I'm super paranoid from sharks and the next day, you know, I'm going to dive with them. No, I made myself safe in the water first for a quite long time. And when I went to dive with them, I already had that mental control in that moment to dive with them, where it was super necessary. And to be aware and look right, left, and then they're coming from all sides. And if you look at them, they turn around. So what I want to tell you with that is like, my friend, if you're scared from the water, from the ocean, you're not the only one. There are tons of people out there which are scared. But the good thing is you can learn to deal with your fear. You can learn to see it as something which is there to protect you, and you can grow in a wonderful, slow and pressure-free way and become an ocean woman, an ocean man, and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful ocean, which I love so much. And if you don't want to make that journey alone, I have a wonderful coaching for the ladies out there. It's a one-on-one coaching. You either can come to the ocean and make it here with me, or I have an online coaching where I teach you everything what I learned. And yeah, for me it's really a great passion to help you to do what you love, because I think we just have that one life, right? And we don't want to let it pass through just like that and miss it. I heard something that's a little bit heavy, but visualizing yourself on the deathbed before leaving this planet. What would you think? What you didn't want to have missed? I mean, what is it? Making a lot of money? If we die, we're not going to take it with that. Having a wonderful family? These are memories you're going to remember. Being a good person. For me, it's like sharing the benefits of diving into the ocean and yourself, and bringing that also to firm land has learned me so much more to enjoy everyday life with my family, which is wonderful. And that we're such an important part of it, of that planet. But on the other way, not so important at all. You know what I mean? So don't take yourself too serious. But enjoy it. Share it. Go to the ocean. Feel the release. Feel the love, the fun, the connection to that blue, blue planet. So I'm gonna leave you here because today it's my mommy's birthday. So happy birthday, Mama. And I see you again next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. It's such an honor having you. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It really helps to grow the show. Feel also free to connect with me on Instagram, share ideas or questions for future episodes. I really hope to see you next week. Bye!